Seattle Seahawks beat the Buffalo Bills 31-25 on Monday Night Football. You're watching the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Hello and welcome to the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment. Seattle Seahawks get it done against the Buffalo Bills 31-25, and in my predictions video I had the Bills covering what was at that time a +7 spread, ended up going to +6, and guess what, it was pretty much even. It was a push, as the bettors would say, as the Bills lost by 6 points. And I felt they were going to compete in this game. The Bills have been playing pretty well this season. I know now they're under 500, but this, I believe, has been a good season for this Bills team. It didn't start out great, but they've really had some tough wins, and they've got some nice wins. And today, man, they went to Seattle, and they were real close to winning this football game and upsetting the Seattle Seahawks team. And I mean, if there's some calls that go their way, maybe they actually do that. And if that final play goes their way, they definitely do that. To me, I don't think Russell Wilson would have went down the field in 20 seconds to win this game. So it's unfortunate for the Bills, but I think it was a valiant effort, and it was an effort that they should be proud of. Let's start with the Seahawks, then we'll go back to the Bills. So for the Seahawks, number one right now, I think their biggest problem, actually they have a couple problems. Number one, their offense hasn't been putting up points. Russell Wilson, and I still think that he's a very good NFL quarterback, he only had 5 touchdowns before this game. I mean, that puts him on pace for about 12 touchdowns on the season, and man, that is just bad. I mean, it's not like he's throwing a bunch of interceptions with that, so he was still going to have a high touchdown to interception ratio, but I mean, you just can't throw 12 touchdowns. That number needs to be over 20. And for Russ Wilson, I expect over 25. I expect him to be in that range. I mean, I remember a couple years ago, 2014, he had 20 touchdowns to about 7 interceptions, and I thought that was a bad year for him and his standards, and it looked as if that's where we were trending yet again. But he came out in the first half and he played great, especially in the second quarter, leading his team down the field time and time again. He had a rushing touchdown today, and he had 2 passing touchdowns today. Very crisp and very sound in the first half. Now, in the second half, though, I felt the Seahawks kind of took their foot off the gas pedal, if you will, and they slowed up on this Bills team. But also, they couldn't run the football. They tried to get CJ Prosise some carries. He wasn't having much success at all. Christine Michael wasn't getting anything today. I think he averaged 0.2 yards per carry. They couldn't run the football. They became one-dimensional, and this Bills defense, when you become one-dimensional against them, they end up saying, okay, well, we're just going to rush the passer because we do that pretty well. Lorenzo Alexander's having a great year for us, and our cornerbacks are pretty good, and you're not going to find much success throwing the football once we know you're a one-dimensional football team. So once they got settled, once they made some second-half adjustments, this Bills pass defense I felt was very good, and they got after Russell Wilson, and you can see, man, he really doesn't want to run right now. I felt at the end of the game on his second-to-last offensive drive, Russell Wilson, the Seahawks' second-to-last offensive drive, when they had the ball with, a little over 2 minutes to go, trying to run down the clock, Kyle Williams got the sack on him. If Russell Wilson is healthy, he's running to the left. He's getting a first down. This game is over. I don't know why he stayed in the pocket. Well, now I know why. Because he doesn't think he's healthy. Because he's banged up. Because he's just not able to run as effectively. Even if this is true, I think he should have got it, or he should have went for it, because he would have gotten it. Even if he's hobbling around like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, I thought he would have got that first down. I thought that entire left side of the field was wide open, saying, hey, look at this first down. Run for this first down. But he got sacked by Kyle Williams, who was on the ground just looking, just trying to grab him like he was some sort of spider, and then grabbed his ankle. Russell Wilson, when healthy, does not allow someone to just grab his foot or his ankle and bring him down. That just doesn't happen with a healthy Russell Wilson, and I'm not sure if he's going to get healthy, because it's been weeks since he aggravated this injury. Maybe this is like a thing he has to wait for after the season. There's some surgery he needs to get that he's not getting. I'm not sure what's going on, but I think it's really preventing this offense from going to the next level. They need him to move around to be very successful. It opens up their run game, and it makes them a more than just a one-dimensional offense, which is what they've been over the past number of weeks. I mean, last week, the running game was on against New Orleans, but this week, man, they just couldn't run the football at all. We move on to their wide receivers. I'm dropping Tyler Tyler Lockett in fantasy football. I think today proved, even when Russell Wilson threw for 282 yards, Tyler Lockett did nothing. This was expected to be a really good year for Tyler Lockett, and I'm not sure he's going to match his rookie stats, and that's bad. But Doug Baldwin showed up. Jimmy Graham had a great second quarter, made a number of plays, made a number of one-handed catches, had a one-handed touchdown, had a hurdle. This guy was balling in the first half. My problem with Jimmy Graham is he's just not consistent, and that's just true for the tight end position in the NFL. This is even true for Rob Gronkowski. We saw Rob Gronkowski do virtually nothing without Tom Brady. I don't know why these NFL tight ends are not consistent on a game-to-game basis. Not that the wide receivers are so much better, but they're better at being consistent. I guess it just comes with a position or what have you. But hey, Jimmy Graham had a great game today. Made the Saints, maybe say, oh, we miss you a little bit, although they're doing fine on their own right now, but in terms of passing wise, but he had a great game, and give props to him. Outside of those guys, though, Jermaine Kearse had a couple catches, but, he's just Jermaine Kearse. He's not going to do anything. Paul Richardson tried to get out there, but he can't get out there right now. When it comes to their defense, Seattle's defense, Earl Thomas just making great plays. Richard Sherman, now he had the interception today, and I liked, first of all, he ran this route like a wide receiver. I mean, you would have thought it was Tyrod Taylor and Richard Sherman that were playing quarterback and wide receiver for the same team. I mean, it looked like Tyrod Taylor said, hey, man, Rich Sherman, hey, run this go route, dog. I'm going to hit you on this go route, dog. And then he hit them on this go route because it was Richard Sherman wide open running the route. I don't know what kind of confusion, what happened between Robert Woods and I think it was Robert Woods who was intended to throw to Tyrod Taylor and Tyrod Taylor. But man, Richard Sherman was a wide receiver for this play. This guy, how does he know? This guy is good. But anyway, outside of that, though, I don't think he was very good today. He led up a number of yards to Robert Woods, a huge completion on the last Bills drive, and they were driving to try to win the football game. He led up that completion. He was very erratic, and then we all know the huge play in the middle of the game, right before halftime, where he roughed the kicker and got away with it, was offsides. The very up and down game from Richard Sherman. In fact, I give this performance, I'd probably give it a B- or a C+ for his standards, definitely. Yes, he had the interception, and it was nice to see him actually try to return this interception. I don't know why cornerbacks don't do this. I mean, think about it. When was the last time we saw a cornerback made a great touchdown return for, just any, interception return, whether it be for a touchdown or not? We don't see it in today's NFL, so it was nice to see him try. But outside of that, very up and down, and you can't let Robert Woods end up with how many yards? 162 yards. And yes, I know Robert Woods does not line up against Richard Sherman on every play, but this is too much yardage here. You can't allow this, and he allowed this. This is bad. I think this was a below-average performance for Richard Sherman, but the other Seattle defenders, they were sporadic as well. I mean, this is a team that gave up over 400 yards to the Buffalo Bills today. They had their individual plays. You saw Frank Clark make some plays, and Bobby Wagner making plays, and KJ Wright make some plays, but make no doubt about it, this was a below-average night for this entire Seattle team. They gave up 25 points today. I know 7 of those points were because they let up, their special teams let up a punt return block, but over 400 yards, man, you can't do that to this Buffalo Bills team. You almost gave Tyrod Taylor his first 300-yard passing game in his career. That's not good, dog, and you got to fix that because right now it's you and the Dallas Cowboys. That's what everyone's looking at in the NFC. If you're going to beat the Cowboys, you can't show up with this kind of defensive performance because they will beat you. Let's move on now to the Buffalo Bills. And again, as I said to start this video, this was a very valiant effort by the Buffalo Bills. I was proud of their performance today. Tyrod Taylor damn near had his first 300-yard passing game, and I've been critical of Tyrod Taylor, and I believe deservedly so. Before this game, only averaging 185 passing yards per game, by far the worst in the league, the lowest in the league. He doesn't do much. He's able to move around, be very valuable in terms of using his legs, but I would never expect, and nor should you, the Buffalo Bills to win a Super Bowl with Tyrod Taylor. I think he is one hell of a bridge quarterback. They're probably going to have him for years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, but he's not going to win a Super Bowl with this team. That's just not going to happen happen. But hey, he played well today, and he came damn near close to winning the football game. And maybe he can develop in the future and become better, because right now he's not good enough. Right now, to me, he's just not a quarterback that you say, okay, we won because of Tyrod Taylor. He's a guy that helps you, but you never win because of Tyrod Taylor. LaShawn McCoy banged up, but he played today, and he played okay. 4 yards per carry. Didn't make a huge impact, but gave a consistent run game. That's something the Seahawks didn't have, and the Bills did. You look at Tyrod Taylor running 43 yards rushing. That's good for him. Again, he's very valuable in terms of using his legs. And then Robert Woods, huge game for Robert Woods. 10 receptions, 162 yards for Robert Woods. And, I see some Bills fans praising this guy from time to time, and I hate Robert Woods, to be quite honest with you. I think he's below average number 2 wide receiver in the NFL, and this is a big game for him, and I'm very impressed. But before this game, 290 receiving yards on the season for Robert Woods, on pace for a 580-yard season receiving. That is bad, okay? Especially considering the fact that now he's the number 1 receiver for this team. Now, if he can show me performances like this, or just 2/3 of this, yardage-wise, then I'll be impressed, and he'll skate by, and I'll change my opinion of him. But I think he's too inconsistent. Or actually, he's pretty consistent, but he's consistently okay, or consistently mediocre. I think he's a below-average number 2 wide receiver in the NFL. I don't think he's very good at all. But today he played well, and I will give him props for that. And beyond him, nothing. Marquise Goodwin, nothing. He had 43 yards, but he's just not he's a gimmick. He didn't get a long pass today, but that's normally what he's doing. He's a gimmicky guy. You look at, that's it. Justin Hunter, who you signed off of the street. Charles Clay, who has done nothing this year. Hopefully you've dropped him in fantasy if you have him. Let's move on to defensively, where I thought, this was an up and down game for them as well. They got their plays in. You saw a number of sacks, one from Lorenzo Alexander, one from Shaq Lawson, one from Jerry Hughes, but they let up a number of yards, let up a number of big plays. Ronald Darby let up a huge play over the middle, deep pass to Doug Baldwin. They just let up too many plays to me, and they lost the game. But this Bills defense, they're playing better. I think this Bills team, they're just right about what they were last year. Unfortunately for them, they're not better, but they're still, I think, a decent team in the NFL. They're not going to fall off of a cliff. Their schedule is okay, and they're going to win some games coming up, so they'll be fine. As for Seattle, I'm considering whether or not I want to pick this team to make the Super Bowl. Before the season, I had them making the NFC Championship game, and I still have that. They need to find a run game. They need to find a run game. Christian Michael, CJ Prosise, they're good. Thomas Rawls, I'm not sure if he's coming back this season. I need to look at the injury report, but they're good, but they're just not having a consistent run game right now. And their passing offense today, they did well, but will they do well in the future? I don't know. This defense, though, what I love about this defense, even though they had a bad game today, you trust them at the end of the game. Say win the game, win the game. They always do it. They always win the game when you need them to win the game. When you say, okay, this quarterback, this team is driving on us, win us the game, they win the game. We saw it in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers. We saw it we didn't see it in the Super Bowl, unfortunately for them, but we saw it today. We saw it against Atlanta when they faced Atlanta this season. They stopped the Cardinals on a number of occasions. Luckily, they got a couple of missed field goals, but they stopped them. This defense is very trustworthy. This offense right now, not quite. But this is an NFC where right now it's the Cowboys and it's really the Seahawks, and everyone else has to prove themselves. Some of them yet again, like the Vikings, they have to prove themselves yet again. So this Seahawks team is a legitimate Super Bowl contender, but they have some issues to fix, and they currently are not on the same level as the Dallas Cowboys or the New England Patriots or the Oakland Raiders for that matter. But we will see how these things develop in the near future. So there you go. Those are my thoughts and my highlights and just my overall analysis from the Monday Night Football game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Buffalo Bills. Overall, I thought this was a very good game. If you're telling me this game was between the Patriots and the Cowboys, we'd be talking about this game being game of the year. Unfortunately, not too unfortunately, it was the Bills and the Seahawks. These are good teams, and one of them's decent, one of them's good. A lot of people weren't watching, though, from what I saw on Twitter, but I thought it was a very good game. And empirically, just looking at the game, I thought it was maybe game of the year. Honestly, I thought it was a very good game. I enjoyed myself. Did you? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been the MJ Take on Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. Peace.